Do you ever do the stand-up comedy things where you bang it on your leg or use it against your throat or anything like that?
Not on purpose. If I'm trying to really get the growl out of my voice, I'll kind of sit it in the corner and talk over the top of it. But usually if you hear the bang or something against my leg, it's purely accidental.
It's actually just you reacting to something?
Or running from something.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Or you attempting some bullfighting.
Yeah. There's a reason that one's not on my resume. But I can tell you, Vince, when you donk one on top of the head with a microphone, does not faze them.
It was like watching a girl jump into a fight like in high school and hit a guy with like... It was like watching a girl nowadays jump into a fight and hit a man, like a big man with a Stanley. Mm-hmm. And having that dude just be like, did you seriously just crush your Stanley on my head is what that looked like. Well,
yeah.
Before we get all that, let me go ahead and introduce you. Jake Powell, how you doing today, sir?
Doing good. Doing real good.
Rodeo announcer. You're co-owner of Lost Nations Rodeo Company. Good to have you here in the studio today. So, yeah, you did a little amateur bullfighting the other day up in Cadillac.
It's not the first time that I've been roped into such situation, but none of the other ones have gone any better than that one.
So something my dad asked me when I was starting to do a little rodeo clown, and he said, so like, is the bullfighting any of your responsibility? And I was like, oh no, I mean, they pay guys for that. And then you stop and you go, but I mean, there's like this moral responsibility that you're not going to let another man just get gored to death or stomped to death in an arena. So like at a certain point in time, any able-bodied person has to jump in there and try to do something.
Well, and what prompted that was when Gunner got hooked against the panels, and I mean, as soon as they made contact with the panels, he looked up at me and he goes, Jake, help me. I'm like, gosh, dang it. Here we go.
Gunner, you're a big boy.
You're right. She weighs 200 pounds. You'll be fine.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't even notice who was who in the video at first when I saw it. I've kind of... Milo Brown was there too, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah. I saw the pink shirt come out of nowhere. So,
which it felt... I mean, I know watching the video back, he was there in 3 seconds, but it sure felt like it took him 20 to get there.
That's funny. Yeah, no, it's... I'm definitely going to... I definitely want to hear that story from like everybody besides Jeremy, because Jeremy is the only one that didn't really see the whole thing take place. It happened to him. It happened in front of everybody else. Jeremy's just like, oh yeah, man, I'm good. I'm, knees tore up, going to be out for the summer, but all's good. Whereas like that was a potentially pretty serious situation.
Yeah, and when Jeremy got hooked there, I mean, we sure enough wrecked out some bullfighters last Saturday, that's for sure. When he got tore up there, it kind of looked bad from a stance of he got flipped and landed on the back of his head, and that ground was hard. So that was kind of... Gunner and I both saw that and saw him kind of stunned when he got up, so we were more worried about neck than knee.
Yeah.
And then, he stands up and falls back down. I was like, oh no. And I went out and grabbed Jeremy on that one too, but... thankfully that was just a knee. I mean, you got 2 of those, you're good to go. So
a little peg leg action.
Right.
I mean, he's been a paratrooper, rodeo bullfighter. Perhaps pirate could be his next career if the peg leg is imminent. But I think he's going to be okay. He's smart taking the summer off though, and not trying to rush it back in like 2 months and try to finish out a second half of the summer. A lot of bull riders would definitely do that, but he's got to be out there for more than 8 seconds at a time. So
yeah, and I talked to Jeremy because I've got him hired for a couple this year.
Yeah,
right at the beginning of July, and I was like, "Look, man, if I need to find somebody, let me know now. And I don't want to replace you if you think you're going to be good, but just let me know."
Yeah.
And same thing. He said, find somebody. I don't think that I'm going to be back quick enough, and I don't know what shape I'll be in when I come back at that point.
Yeah, I think he's going to be like maybe little britches at the end of the summer, if you, and that's the smart thing to do, is to rehab it properly. And he's still a pretty young guy, so he'll be back in the action next year. They can do great stuff with orthopedic surgery. I mean,
I appreciate you, Vince, calling us 30-year-olds young guys. I like that. That's nice of you.
Well, I'm 47, man. So I call Keith Scrabus young man, and he laughs at it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you originally got involved in rodeo? I know you used to own some rodeo bulls and whatnot, and just kind of, give us the basic life story of your rodeo career.
So I didn't come from any type of rodeo background at all. I came from a farm family. Mom and dad had beef cows growing up. always loved rodeo. Don't know where it came from. And when I was 8 or 9, they let me enter up in Little Britches. Second bull ride of the weekend, snapped this arm in 3 spots, my riding arm. So
And how old were you?
8 or 9.
Ooh, yeah.
So they kind of persuaded me to give it up a little while.
So you were ready to get back on after it healed up, and they were like, "Yeah, that was traumatic for us."
Yeah, throughout my limited bull riding career, I like to tell people I had a 15-second bull riding career. That's 5 bulls at 3 seconds
There
apiece.
you go. That's about what mine looks like.
Right. I was never any good at it, and they were never really fond of me riding bulls. They weren't real fond of when we had bulls at the house either. But once I got old enough to, that 16, 17, 18 years old, I kind of ventured out, and that's where I met Shiloh and kind of got into just working back pens, set up, teardown crew, just to be a part of it. And from that, started getting some bulls, started kind of growing a little bit of a herd there and getting ready to start hauling stuff. Realized that I didn't really have a reputation enough to just get bulls work everywhere because I was coming back into it and basically unknown. So I started announcing with it. I'd mentioned something to Shiloh that I kind of wanted to announce. Well,
what was your experience with, say, like, did you do like broadcasting in high school? Did you do the announcements in high school? Anything like that?
Nope. No,
You-
I
you
am the
ever-
world's worst. You put 30 people in front of me, I will freeze up every time.
That so many rodeo announcers tell me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to give a best man speech a few years ago and could not get through it. It went into it going, this is easy. There ain't 10,000 people out there. I'm good. And I froze up that quick. But yeah, with about 2 years into the bulls and the announcing, both of them kind of took off, and we maintained both for a while, but I think it was 2024. We decided that maybe the bull thing's a little bit much to try to do with as much announcing work as we've gotten. And I can tell you the announcing pays a heck of a lot better than the bulls do.
Oh, and it's like there's something beautiful about still rodeoing, but like if you're towing a trailer, it's a small enclosed trailer,
Yeah.
and you can park it at a hotel, and you can sleep at a hotel or any Airbnb, and you can just sleep the way you want to sleep, and there's nobody like, hey, your bull's out.
Well,
You never hear that. You're not getting hurt. You don't have to get on any animals. You don't have to handle any animals.
And the flip side of that coin is when you're 12 hours from home in North Carolina or Virginia or whatnot, and you got bulls at the house.
Yeah, that's a liability.
And there's
as
nobody
well.
there. I mean, mom and dad live across the road, but again, they're beef farmers.
Yeah.
We're talking a whole different tiger here.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, no, it's liberating to be able to travel without having the animal responsibilities, or at least the large livestock responsibilities.
yeah. I mean, we've still got one bull at the house and my horse is at the house, but it's hard for one bull to fight itself and
Exactly.
break fences down and,
Exactly. They're generally pretty content at that point in time.
you know.
So yeah, is that the year that you went to a workshop out in Kansas or whatever
Yes.
for rodeo announcing? I remember when you posted that, and that's actually why you're like the first rodeo announcer I have on here. Is something I was just talking to PY about last week. Is I'm interested in hanging out with people and associating with people that are like on their way to improving themselves, that are always looking to improve the craft and to make the show better. And how can we take this to not the next level necessarily by doing ridiculous stuff, but making it better and better, and realizing that more training is a good thing, and that there's never a point where you have just learned enough, that it's always good to go to workshops. So I would love to hear about that experience, what inspired you to go and what it was like.
Yeah, since I started, I've told everybody the day that I walk into the arena with that microphone and I feel like I've got nothing else to learn out here, nobody in rodeo will ever see me again. You're always growing. Something always new is going to happen to you. It's unpredictable. We're playing with wild animals, and there's so many different situations that you've got to know how to handle, that you're always learning. You're always growing. No two situations are going to be the same. And going out there with Scott Grover to the announcer school, the big top, life changing, and I'd been announcing 7 years at that point, but it was so valuable to my career. It was a 2-day or 3-day little conference, but I feel like I could have stayed there for 3 months. It was just so good. Just the information was so pure, and having so many different announcers in that room that you could pull pieces from guys that have been doing it a year, but they might have seen something that you haven't yet.
That's got to be really cool to have that many announcers together, because I think one of the pitfalls that I hear a lot of announcers get into is they don't have enough go-to things to say when a hot bull blows right out of the gate and a guy's riding it for a couple of seconds. Everybody's got their go-to, but a lot of them don't have enough go-tos. That you don't want to make a drinking game out of your rodeo announcing where people are like, oh, we could have taken a sip every time he said, this one line, because they keep hearing it and people notice that.
Oh yeah. And I'll pull myself apart, watching videos back. I'll be like, it's the third time I've said that.
Yep.
That's horrible. And advice from Scott Grover, I'll make a sticky note and put whatever I kept saying at the last show,
Don't
and put
say
a
it.
big no,
Yeah.
and put it on my clipboard.
Yep.
No matter what, you're not saying this.
Yep, absolutely. It's got to sound, to me, it's got to sound exciting. It has to sound exciting. It can't sound surprised.
Well,
It can't sound surprised, and it can't sound lackadaisical. And it's got to sound like it was your excitement and it was unique every single time.
And something that kind of puts me away from the normal rodeo announcer, and I've been, wouldn't say chastised for it, but people have said, well, that's not how you do it, is I'm naturally witty. I can come up with jokes. And everybody, coming up when I was starting to announce and said, that's not your job. That's a clown's job. You're supposed to be the straight guy.
No, it's not just his job.
Right. If I see something and I got a line and my clown don't, I'm going to go for it. I can make them laugh just because it's entertaining.
Not every clown's a stand-up comedian, too. A lot of them are, a lot of them are physical comedians. That's part of the job. And a lot of them have a lot of canned walk and talk stuff, but a lot of them are not naturally witty. Mm-hmm. And that's not a bad thing necessarily. They're good at doing their performance, but man, if you're witty, why not be witty?
Right. I mean, the Rolodex of movie references up here is always rolling.
Exactly.
I mean, there's so many different things that you can do when you're out there announcing. And like I said, if I got a line and he don't, we're there to entertain people.
Absolutely.
And if the whole crowd sees two guys having fun talking, they're going to stay locked on to what we're doing because everybody wants to be part of that fun.
100%. That rodeo, I say this regularly to my kids, to anybody that I'm involved with in youth rodeos, that rodeo is a business. Mm-hmm. You are in a business to sell tickets, to fill seats. Mm-hmm. If you do not have a full grandstand and the weather is decent, like, you are not doing your job, because there should be a full grandstand if you got good weather. Bad weather is one of those things that just happens.
Right.
And that's unfortunate. But
and a lot of it too, we live in a day and age now where 20, 30 years ago we didn't. Everybody's got a phone in their pocket. Every single person. And it takes 10 seconds. If you lose their attention for 10 seconds and they pull that phone out, you've pretty much lost them.
Yes, sir.
You might get them back, but you're playing an uphill battle. So keeping everybody entertained and locked into what you're doing, it's so crucial now.
What are some challenging times? So just, I'll give you an example. Western Days Ministries last year, I watched Tommy Erksleben have to be the announcer when a young rider got drugged down the fence and left on a backboard. And I mean, I'm talking like a 10-year-old kid. And that's a difficult place to be in, because you're almost like pastor, psychiatrist, announcer, comforter, all these different things. Like, what are some difficult situations you've had that were like that?
How long you want this podcast to go?
Well, give me the one that probably sticks out in your memory the most.
I'll give you a brief one, then I'll get you a good one. Brief one, I was in my first, it was definitely my first year of announcing, maybe my third or fourth performance. We were doing Friday night under the lights over there in Marshall, which were super crucial to my career too, and we'll get into those later. My clown got hooked. I mean, and not just a little bit hooked. They rearranged the panels by about 20 foot with him between the bull and the panels. He's out. And those performances started at 7, and we would have 65, 70 bull riders, 150 barrel racers. They were basically just a practice pen with a crowd.
Okay.
So they would start at 7 and they might run till 1 in the morning. And he got hooked at probably 7:45.
Oof.
So now, here you are alone, kid. Handle it.
Yeah, and you've already got a rough crowd because it's not a It's not a real rodeo. Well, it is a real rodeo. It's rodeo people that have heard all the jokes and know the whole show and know everything, and they're just there to see somebody that they know ride.
Right.
And so that makes it an extra difficult crowd to work with.
And I think that one show might have been what broke the egg in me to be able to tell jokes while I'm announcing. Is that day, it's
Yeah.
me. I got to be entertainer and announcer now. So sink or swim, here you go. You're in it. The second one was down at YCR probably 3 years ago. I'm not going to mention the young man's name, but we're very close to this day. Got on a bull in the short round and got yanked down really hard on a bull's head. I mean, first jump just brought him from left field and yanked him down hard. Quit breathing for a minute. And that one, being a firefighter too, it kind of like, to heck with the mic, I'm going to help this kid for a second.
No doubt.
And we ended up flying him out. But I remember, once we got him in the ambulance and they were heading to the chopper, I looked at the promoter down there and I go, give me the ball. And I came back out of that just serious, but I mean, because now you have a job. You got 4 more bulls to go.
Yeah.
You got to get these people back to where they want to see after what everybody, including the kids that are about to ride, because it's a youth deal. And the way I came out of that still gives me chills. And I honestly had nothing prepared. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I remember it came in slow and just kind of built and built and built and had everybody standing and cheering by the time it was done. But just that feeling of, give me the ball. This is my job. This is my time. Everybody else be quiet for a minute. You give me the ball. When he went down, I mean, and the bull wasn't hot. He just, good bull.
Yeah.
And, I mean, went clear down to the far end of the panels. But, I mean, he hit and landed from me to you away. So I was there in seconds. So were the bullfighters. And, as soon as we got him rolled over, then he started coming back around and he'd open his eyes and then kind of go back out. It was like, okay, to heck with being an announcer for a minute. I've got a new role.
Yeah, I watched when Daniel Miller broke his neck at Super Kicker in the Mason County Fair last summer. I watched Chris DeBacchi go from being like he wore every single one of his hats that night. He was a rodeo clown. He played a fake EMT during his act with a fake ambulance. And then he went out there and actually plugged an artery in Daniel's neck and called for the backboard and basically took over the entire scene with the EMTs, saved Daniel's life, debriefed all the crew in the ambulance, and then went back in and finished the show. And then cleared a hang-up on the very next ride. This dude Austin from the UP got on and got hung up something fierce. Chris bounded from he was at the ambulance, bounded over the fence, went back in and cleared that thing. And it's wild to see somebody that's like a firefighter and a rodeo professional just flip the switch. Hey, look, this takes priority, and just get after it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and we had a pretty nasty wreck out there at Friday Night Under the Lights one year that we had to kill all of our sound equipment to land that chopper. And at that point, same thing. I'm not an announcer for give me 2 minutes.
Yeah.
There's more important things that I got to handle right now, and then I'll come back. And I'll come back strong, just like Chris. And with that hang up right after, usually that helps because you can't control.
It gets you out of your head.
Right. What just happened, you can't control what just happened there. You can't change where a bull's hoof's going to land. You can't help a guy that gets slung down on a head. There's nothing you can do there. But that hang up you can. And that gets you picked right back up. Your confidence is back, and here we go.
Yes, sir. Obviously, you knew Shiloh early on. You kind of told us that part of the story. How do you become a partner in that? What type of percentage of your rodeo life is that compared to just freelance announcing?
Yeah, it depends on the day. So like I said, I started doing setup and tear down and working back pens or popping latches or just whatever on the ground floor just to be a part of it. And was there for probably 3 or 4 years doing that, and Shiloh and I just became really good friends and started kind of getting bulls, and obviously Shiloh's got astounding pen of bulls, so
Absolutely.
He was a huge help in that. And kind of, like I said, I told him that I wanted to try announcing, so then opportunities opened up to where I became co-announcer there, and I think he still saw the drive in me, and he's kind of wanting to be more on the bull side of things now, and there's a ton of paperwork and backside to what goes into an actual rodeo production, and I'm more available to handle that nowadays without the bulls.
Because you don't have a bunch of bulls getting
Right,
out all the
exactly.
time. It's funny how that works.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do way more announcing for other people because with Lost Nations, we don't want 30 shows a year. We don't want 20 shows a year. Right around that 5 to 10, that's perfect for us.
Gotcha. So that's kind of the goal for that company, is to have your kind of legacy of this is your small tour that you do, but you're not trying to take over everything.
Right, exactly. Shiloh's got so much going on with bull competitions and PBRs. I'm gone here, there, and everywhere announcing, but it's fun for us to get the band back together for a mini tour in the middle of the summer. And just those, this year we've got 9 shows, but they eat up probably 50% of my time with different things, like Jeremy, you got all your bullfighter spots filled, and then all of a sudden one gets hurt. Well, now we're back on the hunt. It feels like it's never ending, and when the end of August rolls around, it's like, phew, now I can just announce.
Yeah, no doubt. So do you have a lot of shows that are back to back during fair weeks, or no?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, so what's a fair week look like for you?
So for fair weeks, usually nowadays we've got the semi where all of it's panel packs. So I'll get there at 8 o'clock with the semi, because I don't really need a whole lot of bodies, because everything's just pulling gates off with a forklift. And then my crew will roll in about 9. They'll go to setting up. We'll finish unloading the trailer, get set up, be ready to rock by 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. And then sound check, deal with whatever other issues come with ownership. That's kind of a new headache.
Yeah,
blessing and headache at the same time.
Dealing with issues with the fair committee and checks and signatures and contracts and dirt.
Yep, and whatever other questions may come about during the day. Contestants what's the address to such and such a fair? Type such and such a fair into Google Maps. You'll get here, I promise.
That's got to be a hard line to skirt, because you can't be an ass to people, but at the same time, it's like, let's figure out getting places, folks.
And that's one of probably my biggest setbacks.
Yeah.
And the type of person I am is I will go out of my way to not be an ass to somebody.
I know, me too, man. And it's great for like your long-term spiritual health and everything, but man, does it ever affect your earning capability in your 30s and 40s?
Yeah, if I walk away whistling, I just need a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we'll, go through the show. As soon as it's done, I'll start tearing down speakers. My crew starts tearing down the arena, and goal time is to be out of there by 11:30, midnight, and then on to the next one.
Gotcha. So you guys do just bulls and barrels with no slack?
We'll do slack during the day.
Okay.
That's why we get set up so quick. We'll do it at 1,
gotcha.
2 o'clock.
You run your barrel slack during the day, and
Yeah.
obviously no bull slack generally, unless you're doing some special event.
Not in today's day and age. The rough stock game has changed a lot. There's not a whole lot of bull riders out there anymore.
Is it that there's not a whole lot of bull riders, or is it that there's so many bulls and so many rodeo promotions right now?
It's a little bit of both. And I think at the SEBRA level, what's hurting us a lot too is the PBR has added so many shows during the summer where they used to not have that many.
Yeah, you had the stockyards and maybe a couple of things here and there, but now you got teams.
Right, you got teams, you've got Challenger Series all summer long, which is basically...
So Challenger Series goes all summer now? Mm-hmm. It used to be like a couple of things, and you'd see it like Shipshawana or something like that. And
Challenger Series nowadays is pretty much the summertime velocity tour.
Okay.
They're still clipping along doing big shows all summer long.
In indoor arenas?
Indoor, outdoor.
Okay. I didn't realize that. So speaking of the PBR, you've done some PBR announcing.
Yep.
How'd you get involved in that? And like, how many shows have you done with them?
I think I'm up to 3. I've got 2 more booked this year and next year, through Justin Cornwell.
Okay.
Spent a lot of time just going to his shows and just being there to help. A lot, for the whole first part of that, it was Luke Kaufman and Jeff Wolf, and I was always just there hanging out with them, but if they needed help somewhere, I'd do it. And I think that's where a lot of young guys don't understand that you got to put yourself in those positions, and it may take 8-9 years before you get that opportunity, but be there, be willing to do anything, and then when the opportunity comes, take advantage of it. And when I started announcing with Shiloh, it wasn't like I walked in and went, I'm an announcer, or I want to be an announcer, and he goes, well, here's a boombox, kid, go. No,
Yeah.
I spent years setting up and tearing down gates. I mean, obviously I still do, but pulling latches, just learning the environment before I got handed that opportunity, even to start.
Yeah.
And, with the PBR, I got introduced to Richard Jones, Luke Kaufman, Scott Grover, Matt Merritt very early on. I mean, our first year of announcing. And it was a blessing. And I knew at the time it was a blessing. I didn't know how big it would be. To get to know those guys and be around those guys, and then getting to meet Anthony Lucia and Colby Yates and all the different announcers that have been through Grand Rapids, still dear friends today. But being around those guys and seeing how they did it and having them take me under their wing and kind of mentor me, huge game changer. And that's when Scott decided to do that announcing school, the first one. I'm like, heck yeah, I'm in. I know what you've done.
So that was his first one he did.
Yep.
That's awesome. What's the type of stuff that they like? I obviously don't give away the man's entire, syllabus, but what are some core things that you kind of cover at a school like that?
Well, for one, there's how to handle different situations. I mean, with those guys, because there was announcers there from all across the country, tornado warnings, active shooter drills.
So don't handle it like in the movie Twisters. Don't just yell into the microphone.
No Tower of Inferno. We got to get these people out of here. No, that's not how you do that. That's not how you do that at all. And unfortunately, in today's day and age, you have to have active shooter on the back of your mind.
Absolutely, 100%.
Anytime you get a crowd together, you know. And then we covered sort of, contracts. We did a showcase. So everybody kind of got to compete. We covered how to do your homework on your day sheet leading up to an event, which towards the beginning of the summer, I'm good at it with our local shows. Towards the end of the summer, the information's not going to change. And I've seen these guys 30 times, so I'm pretty in tune with it.
This is your color commentary. This young man's been the champion at the SEBRA Crossfire Finals since whatever. Yeah, right. Gotcha.
And I may not get a chance to use it if the last bull leaves and he's sliding up.
Yeah, it's outside bull riding time at that point in time.
But when you get in the short round, and that's something I love to do in the championship round, is sit there and build drama. And I know you've got to see it.
Yeah.
It's helpful to have that type of background on them. And with who's coming to shows nowadays, there might be a kid that has no stats, but you can go on his Facebook and go, well, he played football and he was number 12 on the football team for such and such a high school.
Yeah.
That's cool. That crowd, they can relate to that.
100%. Yeah. Everybody can relate to most people can relate to that better than they can to what it means to be a bull rider and go from rodeo to rodeo. Mm-hmm. They know what it's like for a guy to go to 2-a-days in the August heat and then go play a season of football and commit to that. So no, that's good. Research is that's obviously key to doing a podcast or any type of media stuff, and that's what you're the media spokesperson during the event is really what you are. Mm-hmm. Because anything you say is going to get quoted by the local paper.
Oh yeah.
For better or for worse, for that matter.
Right. And when I go to the PBRs, there's so much in-depth information that you can get on those guys. I mean, you can tell how tall they are, what their weight is, what hand they ride with, and then you can go to Pro Bull Stats and pull up that guy and that bull and see, okay, this guy's a left-handed guy. Well, this bull's bucked off 87% of the guys that are left-handed that have gotten on him. So what's this matchup going to be? And you can build storylines off of the information that's there if you're willing to go get it.
100%. That's what I did when I had a media pass for the Velocity Tour in Grand Rapids this year, and I requested a feature rider, and I wanted Ezekiel Mitchell, but I ended up getting Michael Lane is who I got. And I was like,
Michael's won a pile of those velocities.
Yeah, he is. He's like the most winningest guy. But I didn't know that. And so I would have looked dumb if I hadn't looked that up. And I only had like 6 hours before the show, but I was like, hey, let me look up Michael Lane and let me look up the draw for today and see what bulls he's drawn and what their buck-off he had unridden bulls. Mm-hmm. So I got to ask him about that in the interview, and I actually had something to ask a rider besides, how'd you get into bull riding? Like, because everybody's been asked that. And in short form, like news format, that's awful. You want to sound like an educated sportscaster, because isn't that what you are in the moment? You're a
Oh, yeah.
sportscaster, whether it's me doing a media interview or you announcing live. That's what a sportscaster does.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's I can't stress that enough for people that are getting involved in, shoot, man, if you're getting involved in the sport in general, do research on who you're competing against, who's around you, what events you're at. I mean, if you're particularly, man, if you're paying entry fees to enter events and you're just starting off, maybe look at, am I entering events where where I have no chance of winning, or is there events where I could actually possibly place?
Right.
On the flip side of that, you want to hang around with people that are better than you. So
Right. And I'll watch back different videos of me announcing. I'll tear myself apart. There's not a worse critic in this world on me than I am.
likewise with me.
But then I'll compare it to a Scott Grover, a Luke Kaufman, a Clint Atkins, because those are the guys that are where I want to be.
Yes, sir.
So why compare it to somebody at my level when that's not, I'm already at my level.
Yeah.
Let's compare it to the guys that are working where I want to be.
Have you gotten to the point yet where you've heard or seen something from one of those guys that you're like, dang, I could have done better in that situation than that?
Yes.
It's a good feeling when you realize you've made that progress, and you also realize that they're only human.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're only human, that means that you can become that good.
And the huge thing, all the PBRs that I've announced have been with Jeff Wolf. Jeff Wolf is an incredible announcer. Hands down, one of the best I've ever worked with by far. But the cool thing about Jeff is Jeff can tell when you're nervous, and he'll start messing with you off mic and just break that shell and
that's
get you
good.
to, just relax.
Yeah.
I heard when you were talking with Dave, how I've got the slow style. It wasn't always that way. It used to be I was motor revved 100 miles an hour.
It's so hard to work with somebody that's like super fired up like that.
And at one point, the first PBR I did, Jeff covered his mic and he goes, slow down. I'm like, okay. But, I mean, that was the first time I ever got to do the welcome to the one and only PBR and the pyro goes off. I mean, naturally, you're going to be fired up in that situation. That's what I've wanted since I was a little kid.
Yeah, if you're not fired up in that situation, what's wrong with you?
Right.
It's, it does, it sucks to be in the situation where you're like, I know I'm nervous as hell, but if you think about being nervous, it just makes the whole situation worse. So how do you get through that?
You've got to fall back on your basics. I mean, and
when you say basics, you mean your training and your practice and your repetition that you've already done?
And all the preparation that you've done. And you got to tell yourself, look, kid, dance with the lady that brung you. You did all the work to be here. All that's behind you. You're good enough to be here. Somebody saw what you've been doing, and you're good enough to be here on your own. Do it. Do your work.
Yes, sir. And the other thing is, for me, it's if I miss the shot or something walks in front of me or I'm out of focus or I didn't hit record, you can't let what just happened dictate what happens next.
No, and we all fall in that trap.
Yeah, and you can't go back and change history. There's no time machine button, dude. It does not exist. You must absolutely snap into the present and make good choices, even though you just made a bad one or you just made a mistake. You got to move forward.
And there's those times where maybe I'll slip a joke in there and the crowd's just crickets, and it's like, well, I thought it was funny. And I'll even say that over the mic. I go, well, I thought I was funny. And then you do get them laughing.
Yeah.
It's just, you have those moments where you tried something you thought was going to be cool and it backfires on you and you're like, oh, crap. And it kind of throw your lollipop in the dirt for a couple rides and then you're back at it again,
Yeah, but you definitely can't stand there with the dirty lollipop staring at it for the rest of the time. You got to get back at it, and the show's got to go on, and you got to sell the show. Yeah, no, it's I can't tell you, it was probably early on in the Pro Edge season last year where I missed a couple of shots. And I started like going back through my camera looking for him, as if like going back and looking for him was going to change the situation moving forward. You just got to accept it, make a good decision, and move on. It's so many people will live in that denial phase in the middle of a serious situation like that and just not let it affect them. And it'll just cause one trip up after the next if you keep dwelling on it.
Well, and I'll give you an example. Last fall, we were down in North Carolina on the Outer Banks doing a rodeo. And when I run production, if the show starts at 7 or if it starts at 3, there's an app on my phone that counts the seconds.
Okay.
And we're going when that changes to 7 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which this one happened to be. And Julie runs my music for me. She's got the same app. We're on the same page. As soon as it hits 3 o'clock, we're going. I take full responsibility for not noticing that there's a bull standing in the out alley, and none of my bull riders for my intro are in that out alley. So we hit 3 o'clock. I hit them. I'm building them up. It's time to meet the cowboys, and I look.
And there ain't no cowboys.
There's a bunch of cowboys standing on the back of the chutes waiting to crawl over, and there's still a bull trying to hook somebody in the out alley. I'm like, so rerouted, did the prayer, did the anthem, then come back to it, which the crowd was none really the wiser. They could tell that there was a slip up, but everything worked out. But that whole first section. I am tearing myself apart in my head. And she finally reached over. She goes, "It happened. You can't change it."
That's really good. It's really good to have another person there with you to say like, "Hey, dude, this is not gonna. Worrying about this ain't gonna change anything." I have to be that person for myself most of the time, but I've gotten to. I told my wife the other day, I was like, I have different inner dialogues with like different, I use movie characters. Like different characters from different movies tell me stuff like, "Hey bro, move on." Like It's a weird mental space to be in, but I don't have somebody next to me ever to tell me, "You missed the shot, there's nothing you can do about it, but you got to get the next one."
Well, and that's the beautiful part too with, Julie is my wife, outstanding music director, but having somebody that's, obviously we're married, willing to be that honest with you and go, "Hey, that sucked. Well, let's move on."
Yeah. No, you've got to. That's what I played music on the road when I was younger. I was a touring musician, and I was talking with our drummer one time. "Hey, look, man, on some of our practice tapes, things don't sound quite right. Could you start playing with the click in your headphones?" And he's like, "Absolutely." And we really tightened up. And he said, "Look, man, bands that..." I started to apologize to him. And he goes, "No, man, bands that have these talks become really great bands." And that's so people, music director and announcer duos, whether they're husband and wife, if they have that talk, they're like, "Hey, look, you're dragging on that intro, or you got to do this, or this isn't quite right, or that music doesn't quite fit what we're looking to do here." All of that is it's iron sharpening iron. And it goes back to what we were talking about, surrounding yourself with people who actually want to be better and don't just want to phone it in like it's 1990.
Right. And that's been my motto since I started doing production in rodeo and started announcing is I want my whole team to care about it as much as I do, because gas is $5 a gallon.
How do you make that happen? How do you build that team cohesion?
Being honest with the crew. Having the crew be honest with me. I'm just a human too. If I did something wrong, call me out on it. You got to be willing to sit there and hear that maybe that wasn't your best work, but it's not meant to tear you down. It's meant to make you better. And how is anybody supposed to get better with getting patted on the back and going, "You did good out there," and in your head you did not have your performance?
I know. I hate it when somebody tells me, "Oh, that's so awesome," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm out of focus there. I just put that out just to put out that shot because it was a cool shot, but you can see it slide out of focus, and I know it's not perfect, but you've got to be that. You have to be your own worst critic, or you won't rise to the top." If you just sit there and let people tell you that you're doing great when you know you aren't, then you're not honest.
Right. And that's, one of the hardest things about this is you'll walk out of an arena knowing you were just in a war for 2 hours because you weren't on your game or something, things weren't going right, things weren't clicking the way that they should, and somebody will pat you on the back and go, "That was a good job." You just want to, into them, they may be trained or untrained eye, it might have been the best thing that they've seen in a long time. But to you, you're like, "That wasn't my best."
Yeah.
That was not, give me a day where I'm on my A game and I'll show you what good is. You just.
Well, it's like a bull rider who can ride bulls getting bucked off at 7.5 seconds. And people, "Oh man, it was a great ride." No, it wasn't.
Right.
It was not a ride. It was not a qualified ride in any way, shape. It was just the same as letting go as soon as you leave the chute. You make the same amount of money from it. Yep. So yeah, that's that, to have that honesty with yourself that like, look, you either brought it or you didn't. And then it becomes like, okay, well, am I at last year's standard, or am I at the standard from 5 years ago? That's something with me with video editing that I'm constantly like, okay, no, I can step this up. I can cut here. I can zoom in here. I can make this look like a different shot. And like, that's gotta be something with, like you're saying, constantly improving with announcing. that you cannot hold yourself to the 2025 standard in the 2026 season.
Right. And with standards like that, obviously we're all going to follow where the trend's going to go. But you got to be willing also to be that guy that steps out here and tries this. Because you might be the new
You
trend.
have to, exactly. You have to stay. I think it's more important to not chase trends and to be somebody that's got enough vision to go, this would be really cool if we just did it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, there's the trend model of like, okay, maybe getting the content a little shorter online, put in vertical format. That's an okay trend to chase. But you want to then within that format, you want to start doing, okay, so what do we do that makes us different? That's our own cool thing that people are going to want to copy from us.
Right, exactly. And I think it's always been an advantage in my career is I'm not second, third, fourth generation rodeo. I don't come from a background of, well, Papa always did it this way and this is the way we're going to do it. No. Let's look at what's entertaining crowds. And it may not just be rodeo. What is hockey doing to entertain crowds? What is baseball doing to entertain crowds?
Obviously, 100% the PBR looked at what the National Hockey League did in the late 1990s and ran with it.
Mm-hmm.
It is so obvious. Mm-hmm. And it's a great marketing model. Now 40 to 60-year-old ladies want to go with their friends and buy what do they call it, the shark pit or whatever at the PBR. They want to go do all that. I meet like 70-year-old ladies at horse shows. Oh, I go and I met Silvano Alves and I got the VIP pass and like they do all that stuff. So yeah, no, that's what they did was follow that.
Right. I mean, and it may be as simple as watching America's Got Talent. What new act is catching everybody's eye? What can, if you see something on there that you think a clown can handle, hey, why don't you try this?
Exactly. One thing I've noticed that you guys do that I haven't heard anybody else do is when your bullfighters, at least last year, when your bullfighters came out, they came out to the instrumental version of Where the Hood At by DMX. And like, there's so many great 1990s hip hop beats that like, yeah, man, the lyrics ain't going to fly in public, but the beat still goes ridiculously hard. And I feel like a lot of guys try to stay in the like country music sphere or the like 80s rock music. And man, there's a lot of stuff with really great beats and hype rhythms that is newer electronic stuff. If you watch my channel, you obviously see what I use.
Right. And with me announcing, that's now that Julie runs my music, she's learned what I feed off of. In those early 2000s hip hop rap type beats, if you give me that in the background for a sponsor read, I can go from, well, come see Dodge to now I can roll with it.
Yes.
And I've got a tempo that I can. Oh,
yeah. It's not just in live stuff too, man. It's in people's like YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. If you're like driving down a ranch road feeding cattle and there's a like little banjo music or a little soft country playing in the background, it's like, oh, this is relaxing. I could take a nap to this. Or if it's that same truck going down the same dirt road, but there's either like blaring rock music with like great riffs, or there is hip hop beats with like a sick beat to it, that can completely change the mood of the entire thing and get your attention.
Oh yeah. I mean, and where I'm building drama in the short round, give me a good Eminem instrumental.
Oh, yeah.
Give me those slow build up rock rap type instrumentals and let me go to work.
Yeah.
It's like pulling the string on them little clacker toys when we were kids. Just you put that on there and watch the monkey dance.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and with America in general, we're a melting pot. So when you walk out of the gate and look in the crowd of a rodeo, there is so many different people that you're trying to entertain at the same time. You've got your older farm fans. You got young high school kids that may have rode a surfboard there. So many different things that you're trying to cover, and it's easy to go, we're going to play classic rock the whole time because that's what we like. Well, no, it ain't what we like. It's what they like.
Yeah, that's so important. I've said that to so many other guys, and they don't get it. Like, dude, what young kid knows I want to rock and roll all night and party every day by Kiss and thinks that's a banger they want to sing along to?
Right. Now, you can use it.
You can, but not all the time.
Right, exactly. You can use it and appeal to the people out there that do know it, but then switch it up. And that's where she is so valuable. You use that one classic rock song, you've appealed a portion of your crowd. Then you may go to a newer rock song, you appeal the younger version of the crowd. You want to make everybody feel like that event is custom tailored to them.
Absolutely.
And that's when I roll into a town, I might read a newspaper, their local newspaper, just to see what's going on. what local government official did something silly. It might get thrown out there. Did they beat their rival football team? It might get thrown out there just to make them feel like, yeah, I might have been in Pennsylvania last night and I'm back here in Michigan today, but I'm here for you.
Absolutely. It's like when you go into a Buffalo Wild Wings in Indianapolis, Peyton Manning's jersey is on the wall. If you go in there in New York, Eli Manning's jersey is on the wall. It's not you got to cater to your locals, and it's good that you do that. Have you ever made a mistake and called it the wrong place?
Yeah. You want to go back to those when you just feel so dumb. Just, lollipop in the dirt type thing. And we had it, was it 2 or 3 years ago, that we went to Waynesburg, Pennsylvania in the spring. And then we went to Harrisville, West Virginia in August.
So was it Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and then Harrisville? What? Or?
Waynesburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Harrisville, West Virginia. Harrisburg is also in Pennsylvania, so I put the two together and rolled with it, and I'm like, as soon as it left.
Yeah.
Or you get on those.
You just do it one time, or did you realize I've been doing this all night?
I just did it once.
Okay.
As soon as it no more than hit the microphone, and I went, "Oh, you dummy!" But it's also easy too, and you might notice that I try not to do it when we get on those 4 or 5 day runs. Not saying what day of the week it is.
Yeah,
because you're not positive what day of the week.
Yeah,
I mean,
for real, that's a really wise thing to do. Because it's by August, man. I'll see people I'll see somebody I know in a gas station in a town I'm not expecting to see them in, and I'm like, what day is it right now? Right. I don't know if it's Wednesday, Thursday, what? Because we just had stuff every single night.
Oh yeah, and you feel like a FedEx package. Like, who the heck signed for me in the last town?
Yeah.
I just woke up and I'm here.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So tell me a little bit about Lost Nations does a fair amount with youth rodeo with the SEBRA Crossfire Division, and you got a partnership. I don't know how you present that partnership or whatever with Next Generation Bull Riding, where they do mini bulls and junior bulls and all that stuff at your events. So with me, working with young men is kind of my ministry in life. That's one reason that I'm involved with youth rodeo. So I always, anybody that's involved at all with it, I want to ask them, how has that affected your life? What are some good stories you've got from that?
Yeah, it's super humbling to get to see those kids, especially when you get to watch them go from little bitty guys, and I'm going to age myself here on how long I've been doing this, when you get to watch them go from little bitty guys all the way up to where now they're riding in the pros. And it's so crucial. And I know a lot of guys would be maybe against it or too proud to announce junior bull ridings being where I'm at in my career. It's important to me because without those kids riding bulls, filling that pipe, I'm out of a job. You're out of a job.
Yeah. What would you be doing to improve your craft that night if you weren't announcing a bull riding?
Right. Exactly. Mic time is so valuable. And with that, just because it's a junior bull riding doesn't mean that you don't go at it the same way that you go at the PBR. No. Them kids deserve that just as much as what the big guys do, and they might appreciate it more.
However, I think it is a great time to test jokes that might bomb.
Yes.
Like that's when the first rodeo clown thing I ever did, I went out at the Mitra finals, and I told like the Norm Macdonald the moth joke, dude, which is like the worst drag-on joke ever and doesn't have a good punchline. And like I went out and I bombed on purpose, because I knew that nobody was going to think anything was funny. So it was just better to go out there with that mentality. And I think that's, as an experienced professional, I would say that's probably the best place that if you're going to try some new cadence when the gate opens or some new line, that's the place to try it out and see if it sounds dumb or not.
Oh, absolutely. Or, just this last weekend in Cadillac, we had the junior clowns up there. We had Colt Leanna and Hudson Felposh were my clowns up there, and they each got to do an act. Well, we had Colt come out first, and they're little bitty guys, but they got to have a mic for the first time, which was awesome.
I saw that, yeah.
And Colt challenges me to a dance-off. This cat can't dance.
Yeah.
And I'm not about to try in front of all these people. It's not going to happen, And he wouldn't let me off the hook. He's like, no, you're going to dance. I'm like, all right, fine. I got you.
Yeah.
And same thing, junior bull crowd, let's try something here. I go, all right, I can dance just like Chuck Norris. And he looked at me. He goes, well, do it. I'm like, all right. Julie, play some music. I laid flat on my back, put my hat on my chest, and just crossed my arms and laid there. He didn't get it. The whole crowd thought it was a great.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But there was a ooh somewhere in there too, but the right amount of ooh.
Right.
You know?
I mean, and it's the same thing. You got to come up with them on the fly because kids say the darndest things and they're going to stick you to doing what they tell you to do. But yeah, with the junior bull riding thing, it's so cool to watch those kids and how much they appreciate what you're doing. When I started riding bulls with Little Britches back in 2004, you were riding roping steers. They still had horn wraps on them. There wasn't the junior bull riding. There wasn't these miniature bulls out there that have shoulders and humps and spin and do all that. You were on a roping steer that darted and might kick twice.
Yep.
So it's so important now that we've got situations like this and events like this where these kids can grow and learn. And listening to the podcast that you did with Peyton, he's absolutely correct. We need to do a better job of making sure that the animal is right for the cowboy. It makes no sense when you get a kid that's starting to show that he's got some talent at that 8, 9, 10-year-old age to cow kill him. Let them keep getting on the jump kicker or duck spinner, that they can ride pretty handily. Get their confidence up.
That's something, excuse me, that's something that I have noticed with not just like the little kids, but the teenagers and even the young, like so-called pro bull riders that they're entering open bull ridings, but they're not really going to the PRCA or the PBR. And a lot of them, it's like, hey man, if you were just to get on like a lot of practice bulls, you'd be really good. If you were just to go to like I watch some of them, I watch where their free arm is, where it starts. And I'm like, if you were just to go to one of the Cody Custer clinics or one of the Sankey clinics and go to something where you just spend 3 days getting instructed by somebody that has the legit buckle that really understands the body mechanics of it. But a lot of guys just want to take the next step, the next step. And they're missing the point of that they need to lock in on what's the actual goal here. Is the goal to get on bulls every weekend, or is the goal to get a PRCA card?
Right. Well, and it's no different. To me, it's no different than announcing, than video editing. If your first bull riding event you ever did was the PBR at Grand Rapids, do you think you'd have done as good as what you did this year?
No.
Exactly.
Exactly.
My first event would have been that PBR in Columbus without all these county fair shows that I've done and junior bull ridings and everything else, I promise you I'd have bombed.
I mean, I have video evidence of all of my early, being a video creator, there's video evidence of all my early work still there. And it's humbling to go back and look at it and be like, I can't believe I put that on the internet. Like, that is crap.
And that's with me, like, I'll look back and go, God, you wore that in the arena? Like, you said this, you look like that, like you needed a haircut. Like,
I know.
You look back at it and you just tear yourself apart. Like, I can't believe anybody ever hired you,
But it's good, because if you didn't do that, you'd be some like slovenly dude out there drooling in the microphone, working for $150 a show at only backyard bull bashes, never doing anything pro.
Just don't get me wrong, those are still fun.
No, I'm not. I have some of my favorite bull ridings are like the, like the Hawkins bull riding that Brandon Donald and 2D Rodeo put on in Reed City. That's still one of my favorite bull ridings. It was the first place that I ever went that I saw like that you could sit in a lawn chair right up on the panels right there, and they're bucking South Point bulls in the short go. And that is the most insane thing to see those bulls that close with like, man, it's just a setup panel. That's all we got there. But to me, that's rodeo. Like that's pure rodeo right there.
And that's what I miss probably the most about having bulls at the house, because I've got an arena at the house, and as we got busier, it dropped down to just a couple times a summer. We'd invite the neighborhood over. Shiloh would bring bulls. Ethan Mamet would bring bulls over. Denny'd bring junior bulls, or somebody would. And we would start bucking bulls at 7, and we'd roll till 11 o'clock at night. The arena's got lights. And then when we were done, we'd set up cornhole boards in the middle of the arena, and we'd just have a good old time, like no pressure, just let's have fun here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, that's awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about advice. We've talked some about it, but advice for young competitors, these guys that are joining SEBRA Crossfire Division and they're getting looked at by PBR teams. They have these options to go these different routes. And then there might be some, what the older heads would call the perpetrators, and the new heads would call guys that are with a lot of cap that are coming out of nowhere that are trying to perhaps manipulate some of these young riders into signing over name, image, likeness deals for marketing.
Yeah, with them coming in, first off, talent-based. And I don't say this to be mean. I say it because this is the way I look at myself. Never say I'm good enough. Always be willing to go get on a practice bull, whether it be a 15-point duck spinner or maybe get on a good one in a practice pen, but always be willing to grow and learn. You can't look at it as, well, I'm here, so I'm good enough. No. Keep trying.
Somebody will be coming right behind you that's better than you if you think that.
There's one thing in this sport that'll carry you further than anything else in this world, and that's not physical ability. It's not your talent. It's what's inside of here. And with the talent, sure, God made you a bull rider and made you a pretty good one, but you need to grow and develop that talent on your own. He's not going to just hand it to you.
Absolutely. That's for every skill set.
Absolutely. As far as the name, image, and likeness deal, me being an announcer, nobody's out after my...
Yeah, right?
They might steal something cool I said at a show, but they're not. There's no pictures of this that anybody wants.
So as far as like young riders, like obviously there was a recent event that we'll brush briefly over that there was a character, I don't even know his real name, but he went by Uncle Rick on the internet. And we
probably will never know.
Yeah, we probably will never know. But I think it's important to mention that young riders should not be, if you can't vet somebody and figure out who they are, you should not be agreeing to any type of legal deals with anybody. If they can't show you, hey, look, I'm from the, if they say they're from the PBR, that they're an executive at the PBR, then they ought to be friends with the other executives from the PBR on Facebook. If they say, hey, I'm a former NBA scout, then they ought to have like NBA players that they've represented.
Or if they say, I can get you this sponsor, this sponsor, this sponsor, this sponsor, somewhere on their social media, you'd probably think you'd see their logo somewhere.
Absolutely. So it is important to vet the people that you're being propositioned by, because like you said, there's kind of I don't know if it's a shortage of bull riders or an excess of promotions, but at the end of the day, people are grasping for the money in rodeo, and there's going to be people that have nothing to do with it, to stick their hands in occasionally, and are trying to take advantage of young people who think that they're building something with it.
And honestly, I think why that happens is that person would want to be part of the sport. Deep down, I think that they want to be part of it. And to anybody out there, if you want to be part of the sport, I'm going to say 90% of us will welcome you in. There's a job for everybody. Yeah, I suck at bull riding, but I'm at a lot of bull ridings this summer,
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I can't, I've never been on a bull for longer than 6 seconds, but I'm absolutely at like 65 rodeos this year.
Exactly.
So and I didn't even get into like rodeoing on the road until the last couple of years. So it's, late 40s. So you can find your lane if you want to be involved in it. But yeah, one thing I learned early on with the filming stuff is you could ask a promoter to go in there and film stuff. That doesn't necessarily mean that all these rough stock riders that paid an entry fee want to be filmed. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be super friendly to you, and they're probably going to look at you and be like, who the hell is this person? But if you start putting out good content that adds value to their career and to the sport, they'll very quickly welcome you into the fold, and you'll be on the road with the traveling circus like everybody else.
Right. I mean, the sport of rodeo, like I said, it's one of the most welcoming sports out there. However, you kind of got to show your stripes a little bit too.
Well, exactly. There is it took me about 3 or 4 years from moving back up from Louisiana before I could really consider myself like enmeshed in the rodeo community in Michigan. And it was like anybody that wants to rush in and profiteer is going to be so obvious, like ridiculously obvious. So.
Yeah. And I know with that particular situation, when it come about, he added me on Instagram, and I saw who we mutual friends, so I just added it real quick. Never thought nothing about it, and then you had messaged me like 2 weeks later, like, "Hey, are you seeing what I'm seeing?" And well, I haven't really looked. Went back and looked, and like, oh yeah, we're definitely seeing the same thing.
Fraudster alert. So no, young riders should be aware of that stuff, and like. I think the biggest point you told me at the time was, look, man, name, image, likeness. If you join PBR teams or something, you're going to have to sign some stuff so that they can do merchandising because you're a professional athlete. It's no different than joining the NHL.
And it could be what kicks you off a team.
Exactly. If you have some type of, at the end of the day, just like record deals don't like to sign bands with drama, you're not going to find a team that wants to sign an athlete with drama, and having pre-existing legal contracts with guys that never netted you anything is an important thing to avoid in the industry.
Well, and not only that, I mean, the PBR has gotten really good at doing these spin-off type TV shows and competitions and stuff like that, which are basically reality TV, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah, 100. As somebody that did reality TV for like 4 years, 100%, it's reality TV.
Exactly. But now you've got this signed NIL deal. You're not going to be part of it now. Correct. Which is going to hold you back from sponsors, which is going to hold you back from traveling. It's all revolved. Ultimately, the cowboy way is the only person that should own you and your likeness is you. We say it all the time that the American cowboy is the last of the freedom that's clearly visible to everybody that you can see in this country anymore.
Absolutely. So tell me about your summer 2026 schedule with Lost Nations Rodeo, and then tell me a little bit about what you've got going on just out there on the rodeo road announcing.
We're going to be here, there, and everywhere. A couple of weeks, we're going to be out in Reno with Denny, with the next generation in the PBR development program, doing a junior teams deal right there where the Reno Rodeo's held. So that's going to be fun. Lost Nations, we've got 9 shows lined up. 2 of them are the first ever time, to our knowledge, that standalone freestyle bullfighting event's going to take place in the state.
Okay.
So those are going to be fun. This year, we hope that they're really good, but we want to grow on it. We want to get it bigger, better. And it seems like the following with the bullfighters has been really good on that since we announced it. Working some for Red Eye Rodeo this year. And obviously next gen YCR, I've been with them since the very first show. I'm going to have some travels. I got one show Friday night in Pennsylvania, as far east as you can go in Pennsylvania, and then Saturday night I have to be back in Saginaw, which is 12 hours away. So, and the one on Saturday is one I'm producing, so it's going to be interesting.
So Friday in Pennsylvania you're announcing, and then you're going to be cell phone to ear yelling the whole way home. Yes, sir. You driving straight afterwards? Or are you gonna...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have much of it's a 12-hour drive, so if you figure you leave there at midnight, you're going to get here at noon at the earliest. So
when are you sleeping during that time?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, fortunately with Lost Nations, we run 2 announcers. I've told Dave Bojanin, who's a dear friend of mine, I'm like, hey, bring your sound system, and if you don't hear from me by 4 o'clock, set it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done passed out and taken a hibernation somewhere in the back of some horse trailer. No doubt. Well, so do you have sponsors or social media or anything you want to plug? Where can people find you online?
We do have a YouTube channel, Buck and Powell's. My Instagram's Powell Rodeo, and then just Facebook's just my name, Jake Powell. No sponsors yet. Not something I've ever really went digging deep into. I figure at some point I'll be good enough that they'll come to me.
Yes, yeah, that is, and just a little side note to the young guys out there. Another thing I'll say to them is develop value before you go seeking sponsors. Have something to show, to say, hey, look at all this I've done, and look at all what I could do for you, as opposed to saying, this is what I want to go and do, and what will you do for me? Because if you're a bull rider and you're not winning, you don't really deserve sponsorship at the end of the day.
Right.
That's with any athlete. If you're not winning, if you are not a high level athlete, if you're just showing up and phoning it in, you're not worth anybody's sponsorship. So all the young athletes, keep that in mind, whatever your sport is. With that said, Jake Powell, Powell Rodeo, Lost Nations Rodeo, it was great to see you, and we will see you out there on the rodeo road this summer.
Absolutely. It was great seeing you.
Yes, sir.